Okay, what the heck is going on? Just so we're being clear here, this is supposed to be a protest about police militarization and police brutality, right? Because that's what I thought it was. That's always what I thought it was. I thought it started because George Floyd was unlawfully killed by police officers. So that should be the message, right? Because now I'm seeing all kinds of crazy things, like Minneapolis and Seattle completely disbanding their police departments. And there's this. So just so we're clear here, the Gadsden flag, the symbol on the flag is normally this. It's a snake. It says "Don't tread on me." It's typically a libertarian symbol, which calls out oppressive governments. So basically, it's against police militarization and police brutality against the citizen, against the governed, which are the power source of the governors. So when you use this flag as your rallying cry, you're basically saying, "Oh, yes, Daddy, please take my rights away. I've been a bad boy." And I understand that these individuals are probably not the brightest tools in the cereal box, but still, the irony. I can taste it. And I've even seen my friends on Facebook saying these things like "we will tread" as like a anti-conservative talking point, and that's hilarious because it's not, and if you think that it is, you're an idiot. In other news, the statue wars are taking place right now across the country as protesters against racism, the historically and contextually ignorant are claiming to be the historically and contextually moral leaders. They're attempting to tear down statues of figures from history such as Christopher Columbus, Winston Churchill, and yes, Thomas Jefferson. And in some cases, these people have succeeded, sometimes to their own dismay. And yes, what you just saw there was a protester being crushed under a Confederate statue. Why do I make the claim that these people are historically and contextually ignorant? Well, in St. Paul, Minnesota, protesters tore down a statue of Christopher Columbus. And I know a lot of people are cheering that on. Yeah, Christopher Columbus was a bad person. But let's take a look at the context and the historical context of this specific statue. And you'll see why in a little bit. So in St. Paul, Minnesota, where this statue of Columbus was torn down, who made that statue and why was it put there? The statue was created by a man named Carlo Briochi. That's the best I could pronounce his name, but he was an Italian-American immigrant who made the Twin Cities area his home. Now, why was it put there specifically? So the city decided to erect this statue as a symbol to Italian-American immigrants that they were welcome in St. Paul, Minnesota. Why would they need to be accepted? Well, it turns out that the 20th century racism was a pervasive issue that affected many different types of people. Fun fact, did you know that Italian-American immigrants were lynched in New Orleans in the turn of the century from the 18th and the 19th century? No? Well, now you do. This statue is of import because of what it represents to the city of St. Paul. It is not a statue necessarily to honor Christopher Columbus and all the things that he accomplished in life, nor to venerate racism, which a lot of people think that it is. It was a statue to welcome immigrants to a community where around the country they were being persecuted by the basis of where they were from. Why do we honor Thomas Jefferson and Winston Churchill with these statues? Is it because one held slaves and the other held really problematic beliefs? Well, no, of course not. It is because the deeds that they did. Now let's talk about history and why judging people of the past by today's standards will only lead you to disappointment. So first, let's talk about Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, the third president of the United States, the writer of the Declaration of Independence, and the reason we have a Bill of Rights. And to all of those who are saying, wait, James Madison wrote the Bill of Rights. Thomas Jefferson had nothing to do with that. Shut up. Yes, he did. So after the writing of the Constitution, James Madison actually wrote to Jefferson and told him, "We did it. We signed the Constitution." Ah! And Thomas Jefferson was like, "Okay, so what rights did you enshrine?" And they were like, "Well, I mean, we're not going to oppress our own people. That's just not going to happen." And Thomas Jefferson's like, "You idiot. That is what happens with government. They seek more power. You need to enshrine these rights so that the government doesn't take people over." And so James Madison did put forward the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, and thus the Bill of Rights was born. But let's talk about arguably his best achievement, and that is the Declaration of Independence. In my opinion, one of the greatest documents ever penned to paper. It's incredible. And I'm going to show you why here in a sec. I'm going to read a small excerpt. I actually have this normally on my wall. It is a copy of the Declaration of Independence. It is beautiful. It is... sometimes I just sit down and read it and cry. The unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. For those of you who don't know, there were 13 colonies, and then they banded together to throw off the British, who were oppressing them via taxes. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. This is basically him making, this is why we're leaving you. This is why we feel it is just to leave you now. And we're going to go into the next part. This is probably my core belief. This is the best summation of my core belief. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form. This document, this one right here, this isn't the actual Declaration of Independence, but I'm not Nicolas Cage, okay? But this document right here is what really encapsulates the American ideal. The Constitution is great, and I love it. And it is so well set up for a form of government. But this is the American ideal, not the Constitution. The Constitution is the formation of the government. This is the American ideal. Now, has America lived up to its ideal? No. By no means has it lived up to its ideal. I mean, at the time the Declaration was written, people were holding slaves, so all men were created equal, but a lot of the people that signed the Declaration didn't believe that. In fact, Thomas Jefferson, although later in life he would hold slaves, originally wanted to abolish slavery in the original Declaration, but he wouldn't have the support of Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, and a couple other states to be able to sign on and to support this separation if he would have abolished slavery with this document. Thomas Jefferson encapsulated in a pretty short document. This is not a very long text. What America is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a free people, endowed by a creator with unalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and the pursuit of happiness is what is enshrined in the Bill of Rights. Freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom from search and seizure, unlawful boarding of soldiers, that kind of thing. Things that would inhibit your ability to pursue your own happiness. And the government can't take that happiness away from you. It doesn't necessarily have to provide that happiness, but it's not supposed to take it away from you. So that is why Thomas Jefferson is venerated with these statues and all these things. It's not because he held slaves. It's not because he had an illegitimate child with one of his slaves. It is because he perfectly encapsulated the American ideal. In one document, he did that. Now, let's go on to Winston Churchill. He held many poor opinions on race. He actually held a very hierarchical view on race. And hierarchical is my new least favorite word. He basically believed in a hierarchical system, whites on top, everyone else below them, and actually blacks on the bottom. But if you think Winston Churchill's views on race are bad, and they are, you should see the guy he was fighting against. This one. Alright, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, share it around to your friends. If you have anything you'd like to argue with me about, go down in the comments and I'll be happy to, I won't debate with you, but I will discuss with you. So, I really do want to start a conversation here. This is not just me BSing around, and I actually do want to start a conversation. I want people to start listening to each other again, because I don't feel like we are anymore. And I'll be happy to listen to anything you have to say, any critiques of anything I've said in this video. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I will check in again probably in a week or so, because I don't have much time to make these videos. I do it out of pleasure and out of starting a conversation. So, check you guys out later. Bye.